Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mark Clemens Postcards. Hope you have had a good week. We are here to show you what took place on eBay this past week, what items we sold, and let's just get to that. If we take a look at our sales, and by the way, I'm over here in this corner. Usually I'm over in the opposite corner, but I thought I'd try something different today. So I'm over here on this side of the screen. And looking at our sales for the past week, we can see we did a total of $644.88. That was comprised of 67 items, and our average sale price was $9.63, which is not too bad. So another typical week on eBay. So let's look at the items that made up those sales. Obviously, I'm not going to show you all 67 items, but I always try to give a good sampling of the items that sold and give a variety of the kind of things that you can expect to sell on eBay. First up, we have a view in Wheaton, Minnesota. This is a view on Broadway. And you can see that it is a dirt street, not too uncommon, back in the early 1900s. Off to the left here, we see some interesting things. There's a restaurant and a hotel. You can see signs for that. See some people out on the sidewalk there. This is a divided back era card, and it is unposted. And as I look at this, I kind of notice that I shouldn't be in this corner because I'm kind of blocking the view. So let's move back over to here where I should be. So much for trying something new. So anyway, nice view in Wheaton, Minnesota, early dirt street there, and that card sold for $9.95. Here we have a view in Frostburg, Maryland, and this view is looking kind of frosty. A very heavy snow scene going on. Looks like snow is falling at the moment this picture was taken. This is a view on Main Street in the winter, it says, obviously. Another divided back era card. This one was posted in 1908. And that card sold for $9.95. Here is a more colorful view. This is Rocky Neck in Gloucester, Massachusetts. Rocky Neck Avenue. And this is a linen era card. It is unposted. Nice, clean-looking card. That one sold for $7.95. Here we have another linen era card. This is a view of the Garfield Junior High School in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. You can see it is unposted. That card sold for $4.95. Next up is a view of the Cunard Line steamship Mauretania, leaving New York Harbor, posted in 1911. You can see the postmark there on the back. This is a Detroit publishing card. And it is a little bit rough around the edges, and you can see some foxing or soiling maybe up here at the top edge. Although my scanner does have a tendency to highlight these things. I think on the actual card that's not quite as obvious as it is on there. I also see a crease coming down here on the top left corner. But regardless, that card sold for $7.95. Next up, we have a view of the Hotel Arlington in Coldwater, Michigan. This is a nice multi-view card. Here's the exterior, as you can see. Here in this view looks like a bar area, and over here we have a restaurant area. Again, linen card. It is unused, nice clean condition. And actually had two of these cards. I still have one left. This was listed for $5.95, and I took an offer of $4.50. And the main reason being, if you look up here, the start time, this was listed in 2016, so that's been on eBay for 8 years, so it's time for it to find a new home, and it did. Next up, this is an interesting card. This is a view at Silver Springs, Florida. This is Ross Allen, who is milking a diamondback rattlesnake for venom. Here's the back of the card. It's not your traditional postcard back because it has writing on it. It's no place to put an address or whatever, but it's still postcard sized. And it says, be sure to see Ross Allen's Reptile Institute. I understand this institute went on for about 46 years, I think, as I checked the details on this. That's a long time to do that. And Ross also milked rattlesnakes. He put alligators to sleep. And you could see giant alligators, crocodiles, turtles, lizards, exotic birds, flamingos, monkeys, and wild animals. You could have your picture taken with a pet snake or ride a giant tortoise. So an interesting place to visit there in Silver Springs, Florida. This card was listed for $5.95. I believe I took an offer of $5 on that. Here is a view at Walt Disney World. This is a view of the Grand Floridian Hotel. And this is actually a continental size card. As you can see, it was produced in 2004, so it's not that old. But a nice colorful card, nice condition, and for a Disney collector, that card sold for $4.95. Here we have a lot of postcards. This is a lot of 100 vintage holidays, greetings, romance, etc. In other words, anything that is a non-view card. The types of cards in this lot, this looks like it says to show my love, so maybe like a Valentine. Here's a good luck. Here's a happy birthday. We have Easter. Probably another Valentine. Happy New Year. Just a beautiful scene. There's a Thanksgiving. That boy is shaking his fist at that turkey. There's a dog. There's a pretty lady. And so on. A lot of 100. That lot sold for $21.95 plus shipping. Computer seems a little slow today. Here is a lot of 6 cards. These are all views from the Pennsylvania Lumber Museum between Gailton and Coudersport, PA. Here we have a view of some men sitting on the train tracks. Not a good idea. Here's some logging activity going on here. Here is some lumberjacks standing on a log. And we have a train. There's a lumber mill. As you can see, the logs were floated in there. And a view of a crane. Looks like a crane is pulling a train that derailed and went off the tracks there. But these cards were all from the Pennsylvania Lumber Museum. They're not that old. And I would imagine these were all available or are still available at the Pennsylvania Lumber Museum. As I said, a lot of 6 of them. They were listed for $7.95. I believe I took an offer of $6.50. Next up is a reproduction card. These are the Roosevelt bears that were very popular back in the early 1900s. This particular one pictures the sleeping car bears. You can see that's a sleeping car on a train. This modern reproduction was made in 1984, and it is a continental size card, but the bears remain popular nonetheless, even on a newer card, and that one sold for $4.95. Here we have an artist signed card, the topic is fantasy, or animals doing things that humans would do. Here we see some mice using mushrooms for umbrellas as they walk in the rain. And the title of the card is Spring Shower. The artist is Molly Brett. And you can just barely see her signature down in the corner. This little sold thing is blocking it. But it is an artist signed card. It was listed for $5.95. I believe I took an offer of $4.50 on that. Here is another lot of cards. This lot are not holidays, but this is view cards, 100 assorted view cards, all unused, so they could all be postally used if you wanted to do that, or good for reselling. Here's a sample of what's in the lot. Here's a view in Oil City, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Gettysburg, Mackinac Island, Michigan. There is a lighthouse. Don't know where that is located. There's a view in Atlantic City. Here we have Akron, Ohio, St. Louis Zoo, Richmond, Virginia. That looks like maybe Yellowstone Park, World's Fair. There's a flamingo with a nest on her nest with some eggs. So again, a variety of cards, all unused. That lot sold for, keep getting a message over here. That lot sold for $21.95 plus shipping. Here we have a provocative view. This is a woman standing behind a curtain, and we can't be certain of her stage of dress here. But on here it says, if you can't be good, be careful. And I guess we've all heard that phrase before. It is unused. The divided back has some writing on the back there. And that view sold for $5.95. Here we have a Marilyn Monroe card. This is from my purchase I made of a large lot of Marilyn Monroe cards a few months back. This is a scene, I guess, from Gentlemen Prefer Blondes in 1953. She appears to be studying some jewelry with an eyepiece there. This card was listed for $5.95. I took an offer of $5. Here's a view in Jamestown, New York. This is a view on Lakeview Avenue. You can see some houses there and a child pushing a baby in a stroller. A divided back card. It was posted in 1912. And that sold for $7.95. Next up, a view in South Omaha, Nebraska. This is City Hall and Police Station. Again, divided back. It is unused. Was listed for $9.95, and I took an offer of $8.50. Here is a view in Derry, New Hampshire. This is the East Side School. Divided back card. It is postally unused, although it does have writing on the back. A nice view of the school there. That sold for $5.95. Here we have a card. Please stop popping in there. Here we have a card for Lido Hotel and Resort, I think it was, in Venice, Italy. And as you see here, there are some ladies in bathing suits, and they are spelling out the word Lido as they pose here on the sand. It is could be divided back or white border. It does have a border around it. Unsure of the exact age. But this card sold for $7.95. Here is a greeting. It says just a few lines from Fayette, Ohio. And the word Fayette, Ohio is spelled out in glitter. Rather thick layer of glitter. It is a divided back card. It was posted in 1910, I believe. You can also see that it's embossed. And this is one of two cards that the same buyer purchased. He purchased this one for $12.95. And the second one, also a greetings from Ohio. This one, greetings from Lyons, Ohio. And this is an embossed card. It has a bit of airbrushing color on there. Again, with the heavy glitter. It was, looks like it was posted, but I don't see a postmark on it. So it may have been addressed and never mailed, or it just failed to get a postal cancel. Regardless, the same buyer bought those two cards, this one for $7.95. Here we have a nice theater view. This is the Rogers Theater in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Nice linen card. It is unposted. It does have a little bit of writing on the back. This card came from one of my recent album purchases. A lot of the cards in there have this same stamp on the back. This was not an address to be mailed to, but this was a stamp for the lady who collected these cards. She put her little stamp here on the back, and she usually dated them, like you see here. This one's dated July 8th, 1955. A nice linen view, and that sold for $7.95. Here we have a stadium view. This is Northwestern University Deitch Stadium, and this is in Evanston, Illinois. We're looking at an aerial view here. Nice, colorful card. It is linen. It is postally unused. And that one sold for $5.95. Next up is the automobile advertising. This is a 1967 Mercury Monterey convertible. Chrome era card. And as you can see on the back, it is unused. It does says Big M Mulligan Lincoln Mercury, but it doesn't give an address. It does have a phone number, KE24000, so I don't know where that's located. Could probably look that up based on that local, or the code there. I'm guessing maybe KE stands for Kentucky. I don't know. But this card is sold for $5.95. Nice piece of auto advertising. Next, buyer bought 3 different cards, all from the same town, I believe. This first one is the Mountain State Forest Festival Parade in Elkins, West Virginia. And you can see the parade going on down here. Chrome card. It is postally unused. That one sold for $4.95. The second card, also in Elkins, West Virginia. This is the Grand Feature Parade, the Chamber of Commerce float. Now, that could be that same parade that we just saw, same day, I'm not sure, or it's a separate, different event. This is also a Chrome era card, and this one was posted in 1973. That one sold for $5.95. And then the last card to go to this same buyer is the high school in Elkins, West Virginia. I think that's a linen card. Again, it is postally unused. And that one sold for $5.95. And I believe those 3 cards totaled $16 and some cents. Next up, we have another lot of cards. This is a lot of 100 random mix U.S. states, towns, topics, greetings. So this could be just about anything in here other than continental cards. These are all standard size cards. And it's just whatever. I just go grab a handful of cards out of a box. And although I do try to give a little bit of a mixture, I don't want to get too many of one particular place or thing. And this lot sold for $19.95 plus shipping. Here's another lot. This is a lot of 100 holiday greetings and romance, etc. This buyer actually bought 2 lots. This is the first one. Here you can see kind of a good luck with a horseshoe. There's a birthday, another birthday, Thanksgiving, Easter, a romantic couple there. There's a New Year's card, Christmas, Valentine's. So again, a mixture of holidays and greetings. This lot of 100 sold for $21.95 plus shipping. And again, same buyer bought 2 of these lots. This is another lot of 100. Birthday, Easter. Not sure what that one is. Congratulations, birthday, and etc. You get the idea. So one buyer bought 2 lots of 100 cards. This one also sold for $21.95, and I combined the shipping with the first lot, and they went together. Here's a view at Conneaut Lake, Pennsylvania, which is a kind of a resort and amusement park area. This is the view of the roller coaster, which you can see back here, and the dance hall. Maybe that is the building over here. A little hard to tell from the trees. This card is a divided back card. It was posted in 1910. The condition is a little rough on here, but I hadn't seen this card before. And I've seen a lot of Conneaut Lake cards, and I do sell a lot of them. I hadn't seen this particular one. It was listed at $12.95, and I took an offer of $10, mainly taking the condition into consideration. Here's a patriotic card. This is a Memorial Day card. This is the U.S. flag, and it is signed Chapman, and it has a little verse down there at the bottom. It is a divided back era card. Looks like it was posted in 1909. It is also embossed. And that one sold for $9.95. Next up, a view in Hoboken, New Jersey. This is Myers and Nichols Hotels. So I'm going to guess one's on this corner, one's on this corner. And a view looking down the street. Divided back era, not posted in 1911. That one sold for $6.95. Here is a view at Alamogordo, New Mexico. This is Alameda Park Railroad Depot and Office Building. And kind of like that Conneaut Lake card we just looked at, a little hard to see for all the trees. I'm guessing that in the middle here, as you can see a little bit of it, must be the railroad depot. And maybe this is the office over here. This is, again, a divided back era card posted in 1910. And that one sold for $7.95. Next, we have a view in Eatonton, Georgia. It says The Avenue, and not a lot to see here other than this path and trees on both sides. Look like might be a building off to the right here, really difficult to see. white border era card. It was posted in 1925, and that one sold for $7.95. Here's some automobile advertising again. This is a 1981 Ford Bronco, which you can see there. He's plowing through the snow. On the back, it is obviously chrome era. It is unused, and on this one, we do see the dealer and their address. We got Colonial Ford Mercury in Canfield, Ohio. Usually having a dealer name and address on the back will make them worth a little bit more to collectors. This one sold for $5.95. Here is a Victorian era trade card. The title of this is Autumn, and it is an advertising for Clark's Thread. As you can see on the back, Clark's Spool Cotton Best Thread for hand and machine sewing. And there's the view of a pretty lady on the front. This card is larger than most. This one measures like 7 by 5, so it's a pretty large trade card. And this one sold for $9.95. That was listed in 2021, so that's been on eBay a couple years, but it's finally sold. Here is one of my laminated reproduction cards. I don't want to bore my regular watchers, but for people who may never have seen one of my videos before, this is made from an actual postcard. It is an actual postcard view that has been copied and in a lot of cases enlarged. Not all cases, but in most, it has been enlarged and then laminated on both sides. And so it's nice for framing or whatever. It can't get damaged by water. It's laminated. And I have quite a few of these, not all listed, but I hope to get them all listed. This one is a scene in Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania. This is the Visitation Church and School. And that one sold for $5.95. Here is a view in Hopland, California. It says Duncan Springs Resort, and it is basically just a cottage or a building up there. It is a real photo view. It is postally unused. And again, this card was listed back in 2016, so it's been up for 8 years. And just sold yesterday, I believe, for $5.95. Almost to the end here. Here is a view in Watch Hill, Rhode Island. This is the bathing beach. And like a lot of New Jersey beach towns, the beaches just seem to sell well, regardless of where they're at. This is a white border card. It is postally unused. Sold for $5.95. And last up, yet another lot of 100. Another lot of 100 random mix U.S. states, towns, topics, greetings. Could be just about anything in here. This lot of 100 sold for $19.95 plus shipping. And that is it. Now we can move over here so I don't block the postcard pups. There they are. Here's Ellie and here's Lucy. And they help me here in my office to do what we do here to get postcards up and on eBay and then packed and shipped. And they are indispensable to this operation. So please give a shout out to the postcard pups. And that's it for this week, what's sold on eBay. Let's see what we have next. In last week's video about the Ship Hotel, I pointed out these dining room chairs a couple times and pointed you to the nautical design they had with a little anchor on the back. In this particular picture, they look to be gray. They were normally coral pink or seafoam green in color, which matched the decor of the room. In last week's video about the Ship Hotel, I had so many different things on my mind that I wanted to show you, and I realized that I talked about this but never showed them. These are one of my most prized possessions of Ship Hotel memorabilia, is these two chairs that actually came from the dining room. My understanding was that the second owner, or maybe it was the third owner, who had tried to make a go of it and couldn't get it going, eventually sold the contents out of the ship as a way to raise money. And there were a lot of these chairs there. Don't know where they all went to, but I was lucky enough to get my hands on these two. And at some point, somebody has stripped the paint off of them, which is unfortunate because I think they would be more valuable and more interesting with the original paint still on. But these have been stripped. They do have the original vinyl seats, and I think perhaps these chairs were actually like the coral pink color at one time, because as you can see here on the seat pad, there's a little spot of pinkish colored paint there. And on this one, a little bit of that same pink paint is on there. So I think they were the coral pink color, although if you look on the little anchor on the back, I see hints of green on here. So they could have been coral pink with green anchors. I'm not sure. I do see green paint on there. So anyway, I know I mentioned these chairs in my video, but I forgot to show them to you. So I just wanted to show them to you now so you could get a look at them. They are pretty cool. If you are liking this video, please give us a like, and if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please do that as well. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that every time a new video comes out, you'll be notified about it. But hey, we're not done yet. There's more. This week we're going to take a look at some unusual postcards. Rather than one of the usual topics that I cover, I also collect just random cards. If it catches my eye or if it tickles my fancy, I'm liable to put it in my collection, and that includes weird, unusual, and quirky things. But there's a few unusual cards in here today. Also some advertising, which I like to look at. And so I want to show some of these cards to you. This first card is a gentleman who traveled across the United States with his dog. It says Sylvain and dog. They left Boston in 1922, made it to San Francisco, and they are in the process of returning back to Boston on foot. And it says if you can help him with his expenses, he's selling this card here to help pay for his expenses. It says anything you give will be greatly appreciated, and then you get this card as a souvenir. And here's his dog down here. We don't know his name, but he is the only dog that has crossed the continent on foot. And if we zoom in on him a little bit here, he says, yes, my feet are sore. So the only dog that has ever crossed the continent. Now that might not be true anymore. This was back in 1922, but at that time, this dog was the man. Next up, we have something similar. This gentleman's name is Orville Ewing from Pritchard, Colorado, and he also traveled from the Atlantic to the Pacific coast and from Canada to Mexico. He was at the San Francisco World Fair in 1939 and the New York World's Fair in 1940. And you can see that he travels with his caravan of animals. Here we have some mules and some goats and a dog. They see a goat and a dog riding on top of this mule. And he's got his little wagon here where he probably lives in there as he travels. And I have several different cards of the same gentleman in different situations. I chose this one just because it was the most colorful one. But apparently back in the earlier part of the last century, traveling back and forth on foot and in a wagon and things like that was a unique and unusual thing to do. And more than one person did it, apparently. Next up, we have Chess McCartney. I don't know if he's related to Paul, and his goat caravan, and they are in front of the Free-Thinking Christian Mission. Now, I don't know where the Free-Thinking Christian Mission was, but that must be Chess standing there. He's got a little wagon similar to what Orville Ewing had there. And there are his goats all lined up. And I guess they had made a stop over here at the mission. Not sure. And I'm not sure where they're traveling from or to. But I still find that a very interesting card. Next up, we have the Hotel Ohio in Ohio, New York. And the proprietor is Carl Kyleback. And here you can see the Hotel Ohio, a couple gas pumps out in front. But I think the star of the card is down here. And his name is Popeye. You can see it's a dog with a little hat and smoking a pipe. And he's sitting on the hood of a Jeep. And apparently, if you would stay at the Hotel Ohio, you might have the privilege of meeting Popeye. And this is a real photo postcard. I was in the home building industry for most of my career, and so I'm kind of attracted to postcards that have anything to do with home building or remodeling and such. So here is a view of a kitchen. It is, let me see if I can find more about it here. These are Maryland-made kitchens, and they are manufactured by the Colonial Hardwood and Flooring Company. And I must admit, I have seen this cabinet design. In fact, in my mom and dad's house, they had cabinets very, very similar to this. Very plain front doors, but at the time, that was the style. Here we have an advertising card for Flexiloom patio covers and or awnings, as we would call them. You can relax outdoors under a Flexiloom patio cover, and that's what these people are doing. Chrome era card, probably 50s, 60s era. Here, if you would like to remodel your floors or walls, you have DeVoe Miralac enamel paint and DeVoe velour flat wall paint. So you can see some bright colors there. And also in the bathroom, you can modernize with Miralac enamel. You can see kind of some of the same kind of color scheme going on there in your beautiful bathroom, with the tile on the walls with the sailboat and waves, and your very modern sink over here, and your very modern mirror and accessories. Next up, everybody needs a storm door or a screen door. Here is a view of some. Let's see if I can see who this is made by. These are Armaclad Colonial doors, made by Hess Manufacturing in Quincy, PA. So there you see the demonstration of a beautiful storm door. Next up, we have an advertisement for paint. This is paint by, see if I can find the company, Low Brothers Paint, and you can see on this particular card the body and the trim of this house using the high standard ivory paint, and the roof and shutters are in moss green. So Low Brothers liquid paint is available at LaGrange Hardware in LaGrange, Indiana. Next up is an ad for Edwards box fin hot water baseboards, and you can see it down here at the base of the wall. There's your hot water baseboard radiation, and it has been installed in this ultra modern kitchen with the fake bricks on the wall, and you have a little breakfast nook or dining nook over here, which is kind of cool. But you can stay toasty warm because you have hot water baseboard radiation here. Next up is an ad for Otis Woven awning fabrics. Here you can see stripes on there. They have a little cloth awnings with stripes, but they are available in both stripes and solid colors. Here's a cool card. This is an advertisement for Wigwam Village. There were more than one of them. I know of at least 3, I think, but 2 are featured on this card. You have Wigwam Village number 1 near Horse Cave, Kentucky. It says 3 miles east of Horse Cave, and then Wigwam Village number 2, which was 1 mile north of Horse Cave. Cave City, Kentucky. A little bit confusing, Horse Cave, Kentucky, and Cave City, Kentucky. But 2 different locations there. You can see it's a very bright, colorful linen card with pretty cool graphics on it. You have the Indians on each side here, and the obvious Indian theme. And there's an interior of what one of the rooms inside looks like. I have seen different variations of these cards for Wigwam Village. Next up is an advertisement for Cell Horns, and this is in East Lansing, Michigan, where they sell trailer coaches, and also in Sarasota, Florida, where they sell pleasure boats. So a nice multi-view card, linen era. Next up, we have Liberty Sign Company, and they manufacture raised letter signs. And here you see the storefront here with the sign, and also their delivery van here with the name of the company on the side. Again, a very nice linen era card. Here's a neat card in Newark, New Jersey. This is Friedman's Music Shop. And you can see up here on this part of the card, they also sold pool tables. But in this bottom view, we see some gentlemen look like they're repairing musical instruments. It says expert repairing on all instruments, prompt service, the house that made Newark musical. Up here in this view of the top right, it looks like a selection of instruments that you can purchase. So Friedman's Music Shop, everything for the musician. That is a cool white border era advertising card. Next up, we have the Bright Drive-In Cleaners in Stroudsburg, PA. This is a really cool card. I love the big bright sign and the flags outside, and the old automobile there, and the fact that you can drive through there. It says 1 hour shirt service, drive-in cleaner. Never saw a drive-in cleaner, but there's one right there. Cool advertising card. Next up, we have the famous Ohio Holmes County Swiss cheese, and that is available here, and you can see these people, must be the family that owns or runs the shop, and for some reason they have a bunch of accordions. I don't know. It looks like they have a little group there. This woman looks like she's playing a lap steel guitar, lap pedal guitar. And we got 1, 2, 3 accordions. Not sure what that has to do with Swiss cheese. Let me see if I can find that card. It says Camels, Camills. If you want good Swiss cheese, stop at Camels. They were in Wooster, Ohio, and also in Apple Creek, Ohio, on U.S. Route 30, which is the Lincoln Highway. Best Swiss cheese in America. And they also have Camel's famous Swiss Orchestra. So this is dual advertising. They are advertising for their Swiss cheese store as well as their orchestra. So how about that for unusual? Next up we have Saxon's Candy Kitchen. I have a couple candy related cards coming up here. This is Saxon's Candy Kitchen. They have 3 stores for your convenience: Italia, Alabama, Wellington, Alabama, and Harpersville, Alabama. And here you can see the multi-view. There's the outside of one of those stores, and here's the inside, and all the delicious candy that is on display in these cases for your enjoyment. Here is another, I guess this is candy. It says candy on the side of the car here. It says Richmond's Mountain Dew Sassafras. And here it says Sassafras Products. This is in Carter, Arkansas. We have Mountain Dew Sassafras, Mountain Dew Sassafras Tea, Mountain Dew Sassafras Candy, Mountain Dew Maple Syrup, Mountain Dew Pure Leaf Sage, and Mountain Dew Molasses. So all things to do with Mountain Dew. And that's not the carbonated beverage that you might be familiar with. What's next? Here we have Andy's famous Ozark candies, the sweetest place in the Ozarks, on US 62 East in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Another candy shop, and they are advertising for their wares there. Lots of information and things to read on the building to attract your attention. Here's another candy stop. This is the original Len Libby's Candy Shop in Scarborough, Maine. Linen era card. So lots of advertising for candy. Here is Cobb's Florida Market. They sell fruits and delicacies. A lot of views on this multi-view card. Here we see some people packing things. It looks like a warehouse setting. Same up here in the top left. Here's a crate of goodies. Looks like oranges and lemons and other fruits there. Here are their offices. And here is a kitchen where they prepare things. And there is the building. So a really cool linen era car advertising card there. Excuse me. Here is a view of Burl & Kenny Store Equipment Corporation in Brooklyn, New York. And if, in case you don't know, they sell cash registers. Cash registers, slicing machines. I guess that would be like meat slicing. And bought, sold, and repaired. So a real colorful, another linen one, real colorful card there. Here's a neat card. I like this one. This is Cooper Body Works. They do body and fender repair and auto painting. Lots to see in this picture. I like the old automobiles, and over here is a some kind of a delivery van. And it says, no monkey business. At Cooper's, just doggone good work. And fortunately for us, to stave off any confusion, someone has written on the card that this is Mr. Cooper here on the right, and here is the dog named Snowball there. So if you were having any trouble trying to decide which one was Mr. Cooper and which one was Snowball, that kind of clears it up. But that is a really unusual, cool card. Here is the Mail-O-Mat. It is a coin-operated mailbox for people who have letters to mail and no stamps. Self-service post office mails your letters without need of stamps. So I guess you put the money in, and then you put what you need to mail in there, and then this gentleman here who works for the Postal Service, I'm sure, comes and collects it, and then they put the appropriate postage on and forward it. I don't know that I have ever seen one of these, so I don't know how well this idea went over. But perhaps somebody out there has seen or heard of these before and could tell me if they were, if that was a good idea or just a flop, because I don't know that I have ever seen one of those. Next up is an advertisement for the Sterling, Alaska Fur and Game Farms. Here you have, it says, no place on earth like this. All kind of animals there. You can come, it's like a petting zoo. It says, come and pet us. And you can see some of the animals they have there. That looks like a llama and a bear and a deer, or maybe a reindeer. There's a monkey. There's this, looks like a longhorn sheep there. So if you are into animals, this is a place to go, or even to take your child to see the petting zoo. There's a couple variations of this card for the same place. This is a chrome one. Here's an interesting card. This is an advertisement for Sammy's Bowery Follies in the Bowery in New York City. Kind of back in the old vaudeville days. It says the only Bowery cabaret. So it's a cabaret show, and I guess what we're looking at is the cast of characters for the show. Has some little sketches up here at the top with some names. Hard to read them, but it says Queens of the Bowery and gives some of their names. So interesting cast of characters there. Interesting, unusual card. Something of similar nature here is the Plantation Room in the Hotel Dixie on Broadway in New York. This is Al Trace and his 10 Silly Symphonists. So you can see these gentlemen have some. This fellow has a vacancy sign on his hat. This one has a silly wig on. This fellow has some goofy hair and a cape. So again, kind of a vaudeville type thing. It says featuring Red Maddock, Dave DeVore, and Nate, The Swinging Gate with DeQuincy and Givens. 4 shows nightly, never a cover or minimum charge. So similar to the Bowery card here, we have this. Here is an advertising card for Everett Pianos. Everett was and I don't know if it still is, a popular brand of piano. Here's some people sitting enjoying a gentleman playing the piano, which is no doubt an Everett piano. So nice advertising card there. Here we add another musical, while we're on the theme or the topic of music. This is Jerry Diggins' School of Music in Louisville, Kentucky. And here you see the building where the school is located, and down here is a colorful description or name with the very blatant musical theme there. A nice linen era card. Another nice linen. This is the Big Rug Store in Schenectady, New York. Bailey Rug Company. They sell rugs, carpets, broadlooms, open evenings, and you can see this is in the evening. It's dark out, so they are true to their word. They are open evenings. And this is a cool linen card here. Here we have the Reliance Picture Frame Company, located in Chicago and New York. They have a traveling showroom. I assume that's what this old antique car is pulling, the traveling showroom. And they will sell you picture frames, or possibly even make you custom picture frames, I would guess. And so that is that's a linen era card, something a little unusual. Don't know that I've ever seen something like that. And lastly, for this mix of cards, this card is kind of an advertisement. This is for Ron Menchine, who was the voice of the Washington Senators. But Ron did lots of things in his life. He was an actor. He appeared had some small parts in some movies. I believe All the President's Men was one of the movies that he was in, albeit a small part. But he was known to be an actor, a writer, and a voice for a number of things. And he was certainly an authority on sports, especially baseball. That was a huge part of his career. And the reason I present this card is because I happen to have met Ron. I knew him personally. Back in the day when I was still doing postcard shows, I met Ron many times, especially when I was doing postcard shows in the Lancaster, Pennsylvania area. Ron would always show up, and he was always a gracious person to deal with. He always remembered my wife and my name, even though he only saw us maybe once a year. And my wife always accompanied me to postcard shows. And he was just a very gentle, polite, soft-spoken gentleman who was fun to talk to. And he always sat down at our table and looked through our postcards, and he always bought something. But Ron passed away, I believe it was back in 2010. So that kind of gives you an idea of how long it's been since I've done any postcard shows. But when I came across this card, I think he gave this to me personally. I just kind of treasure this card because I really enjoyed running into Ron at the postcard shows. And this is a cool thing that I can remember and buy. So possibly some of you out there, if you've been doing this a long time, you might have run into Ron at some postcard show somewhere, or maybe a sporting event or something. He was pretty well known, and he wrote some books, and just a nice guy. Well, that's it for our look at postcards today, so I hope you have enjoyed this video. That's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.